The $1 trillion choke point. How Red Sea attacks expose global supply chains' weakest link. Today, we're going to dive deep into the Red Sea crisis that rocked global trade from 2023 to 2025. We break down the history of this vital choke point, the Houthi attacks, ripple effects on routes, costs and prices, and what it reveals about our fragile supply chains. As threats linger in 2026, is the world prepared? Hit subscribe, like for more geopolitical breakdowns. Imagine 15% of global trade grinding to a halt, ships rerouted, prices spiking, economies teetering. That's the Red Sea crisis in a nutshell. From late 2023 to mid-2025, Houthi attacks turned this $1 trillion artery into a no-go zone, exposing the weakest links in our interconnected world. Today, with attacks paused, but threats renewing in early 2026, we unpack the history, the hits to trade, and the lasting lessons. Let's dive in.
Over more than 190 kilometers, a stretch of blue cuts through the Egyptian desert. This is the Suez Canal, one of the greatest technical feats of all time.
The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy claimed to have seized 2 vessels operating in the Persian Gulf on what it called suspicion of conducting illegal activities. Iranian officials stated that more than 1 million liters of smuggled fuel were found aboard the confiscated vessels during inspection and search operations. According to reports, 15 foreign crew members who were on board at the time were detained and subsequently handed over to Iran's judicial authorities for further investigation. Preliminary findings suggest that the vessels were part of a larger network engaged in organized fuel smuggling operations in the waters near Farsi Island. The IRGC Navy said the seizure was carried out based on intelligence-driven surveillance, real-time tracking, and operational monitoring over several days. As of now, the country of origin of the seized oil tankers has not been officially confirmed. The development follows a series of U.S. maritime enforcement actions, including several recent seizures of foreign vessels accused of transporting sanctioned Iranian crude oil. On February 3rd, Iranian military boats reportedly threatened a U.S.-flagged oil tanker traveling through Gulf waters toward the port of Bahrain. According to the Wall Street Journal, IRGC gunboats warned the vessel identified as the MV Stina to shut off its engines and prepare to be boarded by Iranian forces. An Iranian Mohajer surveillance drone also approached the American tanker at high speed, adding to the tension. In response, the U.S. Navy-guided missile destroyer USS Mekfal intervened and escorted the commercial tanker, providing defensive support to ensure its safe passage. Tehran, however, denied Washington's version of events, claiming that the tanker had entered Iranian territorial waters without proper authorization or permits. These maritime developments come at a sensitive time, as the United States and Iran are scheduled to resume high-level nuclear negotiations in Oman on February 6th.
2 foreign crude oil tankers accusing them of fuel smuggling. This comes at a moment of heightened confrontation with the United States. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps says it has seized 2 oil tankers in Gulf waters for allegedly smuggling fuel. According to Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency, the vessels were carrying foreign crews, though their flags and nationalities were not disclosed. Iranian authorities claim more than 1 million liters of smuggled fuel were found aboard the 2 tankers. Tasnim reports that 15 foreign crew members have been detained and referred to Iran's judiciary. The vessels were intercepted near Iran's Farsi island in the Persian Gulf, following what the guards described as months of surveillance and intelligence operations.
The Red Sea's vital role. The Red Sea-Suez Canal route, opened in 1869, revolutionized trade by slashing Asia to Europe distances, saving 9,000 kilometers versus the Cape of Good Hope. It handles 12 to 15% of global shipping, including 30% of container traffic and 10% of oil. Bab el-Mandeb Strait at its south is a choke point, just 26 kilometers wide, vulnerable to disruption. Yemen's civil war in 2014 empowered Iran-backed Houthis who began targeting ships in 2016 but escalated in November 2023 amid Gaza conflict. Over 100 attacks by mid-2025, hijacking vessels and firing missiles and drones. A ceasefire in October 2025 halted strikes, but Jan 2026 threats and February joint U.S.-Israeli exercises signal ongoing risks. Why vital? It links Europe to Asia without detours, cutting transit from 26 to 48 days to half. Disruptions echo past closures. The 1956 to 57 Suez crisis, inflating oil prices 200%.
This is the Suez Canal, one of the greatest technical feats of all time. By separating Africa and Asia, this man-made route has transformed the world forever. Since its creation in the 19th century, it allows ships to pass directly from the Mediterranean Ocean through to the Red Sea. This is a considerable shortcut as they no longer have to go around Africa. 18,000 ships take this route each year. They return on one of the busiest waterways in the world. Approximately 700 million tons of merchandise pass through here. These ships have become giants of the sea, weighing up to 240,000 tons and measuring up to 400 meters long. We will explain how the Suez Canal has evolved to meet the needs of the merchant navy.
Suez, qui est une infrastructure du 19e, doit s'adapter à ces flottes totalement inimaginables, même pour Jules Verne au 19e siècle.
These ships are so large that the canal has become too narrow, stopping the boats from passing one another. In 2014, a giant project is launched. A new 72-kilometer route rises from the sands, effectively creating a two-way navigation system.
How attacks altered global trade routes. Houthis' campaign forced 70 to 84% drop in Red Sea traffic by 2024 to 2025. Ships rerouted via Cape of Good Hope, adding 3,500 nautical miles, 10 to 14 days, and $1 million plus per voyage in fuel costs, crew costs. Over 170 containers diverted, 35 docked, idle. Coalitions like US-led Prosperity Guardian, which with 20 plus nations and EU aspies provided escorts, but many opted for longer routes in 2026. Partial reopenings. Maersk resuming select transits, free 6 to 7% global capacity, risking
Its creation in the 19th century, it allows ships to pass directly from the Mediterranean Ocean through to the Red Sea. This is a considerable shortcut as they no longer have to go around Africa. We will explain how the Suez Canal has evolved to meet the needs of the merchant navy.
War risk premiums soared 80 to 30 to 300%, adding 200 to 400 TEU. Freight rates, Asia to Europe, jumped 40 to 60%, stabilizing 20 to 35% above pre-crisis. Commodities hit, oil up 10 to 20% temporarily. Electronics, autos delayed, inflating costs. Global inflation rose 1 to 2%, with MENA GDP down 1.2% annual trade hit. The annual trade hit 15 to 20 billion extra costs. In 2026, reopening could drop rates 9 to 16% or more. Hurting carriers like Maersk
Through the Egyptian desert. This is the Suez Canal, one of the greatest technical feats of all time. By separating Africa and Asia, this man-made route has transformed the world forever. Since its creation in the 19th century, it allows ships to pass directly from the Mediterranean Ocean through to the Red Sea. This is a considerable shortcut as they no longer have to go around Africa.
What it means: expose vulnerabilities and future risk. The crisis spotlighted just-in-time supply chains fragility, 40% profit hits for firms, renewed inflation. Broader implications: asymmetric threats, drones and missiles, empower non-state actors, choke points like Hormuz, Malacca remain risks. Solutions: diversify routes, nearshoring, tech. But with Houthis threatening resumption if Gaza flares, 2026 could see echoes precedent for global disruptions.
In connection with this incident, 15 foreign crew members from these two vessels were apprehended and are currently in the custody of the judicial authorities to complete the necessary legal procedures.
Officials say this is the latest in a series of similar tanker seizures in recent months. With fuel prices in Iran among the lowest globally, smuggling petroleum products to neighboring countries remains highly profitable and increasingly dangerous.
Iran's scenario begins with a massive U.S. assault. American air and missile strikes would target nuclear facilities, military installations, and IRGC bases. Most of these sites are located near densely populated areas. The Pentagon would rely on aircraft carriers, strategic bombers, stealth jets, and precision-guided munitions. Advanced electronic warfare and hypersonic weapons would aim to overwhelm Iran's air defenses. Washington believes technology will deliver a swift, decisive blow. But Iran does not believe the war ends there. Tehran says it has hardened and dispersed key assets, building underground missile cities and redundant command centers. The goal is not to stop the attack, but to survive it. Within hours, Iran would launch massive missile and drone barrages at U.S. bases across the Middle East. Targets include Qatar's Al Udeid Air Base, facilities in Kuwait and the UAE, and U.S. positions in Syria and Iraq. Iran plans to overwhelm missile defenses through sheer volume. Iran's strategy expands the battlefield far beyond its borders. Tehran sees itself not as an isolated nation, but as the center of a resistance network. Hezbollah in Lebanon could strike Israel. Houthi rebels in Yemen would intensify attacks on Red Sea shipping. Iraqi militias aligned with Iran could target U.S. troops and diplomatic missions. The aim is simple: stretch American forces across multiple fronts at once. Missiles are only part of the plan. Iran would launch cyber attacks against transportation networks, energy systems, financial institutions, and military communications. The objective is disruption, chaos, and pressure on U.S. allies hosting American forces. But Washington is ready. U.S. Cyber Command has spent years preparing for this fight and possesses far greater offensive capabilities. A cyber war would cut both ways. Iran's most powerful leverage may be geography. The Strait of Hormuz, just 24 miles wide, carries over 20% of the world's oil. Tehran has repeatedly threatened to close it. Mining the waters, attacking tankers, and swarming warships could send oil prices soaring beyond $200 a barrel. The economic shock would ripple across the globe. Iran knows it cannot defeat America outright. Its strategy is endurance, making war too expensive to continue. By spreading conflict, choking energy supplies, and inflicting steady pressure, Tehran hopes Washington will choose negotiation over escalation. But war is unpredictable. What Iran sees as calculated pressure could trigger overwhelming retaliation. And that is why this plan exists, with the quiet hope it is never used.
This $1 trillion choke point isn't just a ceiling, it's a warning. As threats evolve, so much resilience. What do you think? Overblown or the new normal? Drop your comments, subscribe for updates on Global Flashpoints. Thanks for watching The Real Shift, where real news meets real world with a hint of humor. I don't see nothing funny about this, but that's what we're getting ourselves into. Thanks again.